Say, have you seen the karaoke?
Whatever. This movie is still fucking funny. It's also insanely problematic. Like, there's so many fucking parts of this movie where you're just like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Blazing Saddles bad. You can't actually.
No, Blazing Saddles isn't anywhere near this bad because you can just point to the writers of Blazing Saddles and be like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, Richard.
You cannot do that. You cannot do that to the white men who wrote this movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, the scene behind you is that feel around scene. That was the Rialto in South Pasadena.
It's called out as being the Rialto.
Yeah, I know, and that's it. My best friends at the time worked there just before, a couple of years after this was shot, and I know that candy bar really well, the snack bar.
This is one of my favorite performances in the movie. Like, I know this is gonna be weird to a lot of people because she's in it for like 10 seconds.
No, the look she gets were pretty good.
How fucking bored she is standing there at the fucking candy counter.
Oh, absolutely.
Just like, and then when he's like, I want popcorn, and she's like, yeah, whatever the fuck, I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, I was a close second to the person who sells candy and Taxi Driver, who almost like called security on Travis.
But then she holds at the end. She holds that stare and grins at him for the longest time.
Well, it's the same as the ticket seller.
Yeah,
they both kind of like do this weird staring at each other thing.
Well, I'll tell you, this film, watching this now, I'm going to break it down into certain parts. There's a fistful of yen part, which I think is more brilliant than it's ever been. Then there's the rest of it, which is half of it has gotten really stale and is not funny anymore. The other half is still pretty funny. And the stuff that doesn't work.
It reminded me a lot. If you watch a lot of like B-level comedies from the 30s and 40s, there's just a lot of stuff that fails.
Yeah, I think it's because the references are gone. It's like, what's our little skeptic doing now? Oh, she's frying the cat in Wesson oil. It's like, who remembers the ad? Nobody remembers the ad.
Yeah, topical stuff.
Yeah,
we do because we're old as shit.
So hold on.
Uh-huh.
I'm not anywhere near as old as you guys are.
Good point.
I don't have that context for those ads.
So what do you think then?
It's funnier to me.
Okay.
That's so random.
It's all completely disconnected from reality. Like there are things that I definitely like, oh, I understand that's a reference to this kind of thing in it. But to me, and I bought, this is like one of the first 10 DVDs I ever bought in my life. Like like I've watched this movie at least 24 times.
Same here.
But it's almost never had any context for me at all. So I just enjoy this as this weird fucking artifact of the 70s.
There's a specific Wesson oil commercial where a woman puts an entire loaf of bread into a huge pot of Wesson oil and deep fries it, and then they cut it open to show you how moist and not oily the inside of the loaf of bread is.
Yeah,
that has way more to do with the temperature than it does with the oil. Anyway.
Anyway, it's a fascinating perspective in it because it is. If you see it as kind of a random, kind of not specifically tied to any commercial campaign or outside thing, it must be a completely different experience, which I don't understand because I wasn't there for it. I was there remembering what the original commercials. I can name every one of these fucking commercials in here. It's like people walking in and says, "Wow, it smells funny in your house." Oh, did a cow shit in here? It's like, I know what commercial that is,
That's a specific commercial as well.
And,
which to me, that's really funny.
Yes,
it's really funny.
But even nowadays, it's like the naked girls introducing themselves to each other. It all seems really stilted.
Oh,
and whenever anybody swears, you get these little old ladies, or Barbara Billingsley talking jive in the airplane.
Catholic high school girls in trouble was one of the most astounding parts of the entire movie. Really.
Catholic high school.
If you're not Cleopatra Schwartz.
If you're not laughing, if you're not laughing halfway through Catholic high school girls in trouble, you should bail out of this movie immediately.
Yes.
Like that is your sign. If
this film's references, look at this. That's the thing that works. The film's references to movies still work. you know, like a genre, like a sleazy
Well,
70s.
yeah, because everybody's seen those movies that they're making fun of.
Exactly.
Right.
So we know how it works.
To me, Catholic high school girls was one part of it that was like did not age well for me, because to me it was just sort of gratuitous. Oh, now we get to show a bunch of tits.
It is purient, but it knows it's purient.
That's true, which makes it funny with the shower door scene and stuff.
That was,
I
was
which got a huge laugh in the theater. As I
the shower
recall.
door scene is one of the most referenced scenes from this movie, like
That's
top to bottom.
Nobody forgets that.
Also, I don't know the actress, but she was very impressive.
I have a call out for a very special person, Saul Kahane, who plays Rabbi Schwartz.
Oh, really?
Is a publicist. He was the publicist for Kentucky Fried Movie.
Oh,
but he was
really?
also the publicist for the Blues Brothers, 1941, and Blade Runner.
Wow. Damn. That's some knowledge, Jim.
All right. Well, let's
right.
let's just go with that. Like,
he was awesome, man. He was able to feed that 30 caliber ammunition to her. That was just the best, man. He knows what he's doing.
I did laugh when he was feeding the belt of bullets into the gun. Yeah. That's pretty funny. I also would single out the scene with the interview on the set of the two guys talking, and they did all the gags with the boom mic coming into the shot.
Yes.
Never stopped with that.
And
the
where
shaving
he finally
side
ends up getting a light from it.
I know.
Fuck, that is funny.
First, his heart stops, and then the guy pushes the boom mic out of the way and goes like that, and then his heart restarts.
That was the best.
That is funny shit.
Then he lights up a cigarette.
I know.
Yeah.
It was commitment to a bit. We're gonna do a thing with a boom mic, and we're not gonna stop until we have every single gag done. And that's what they did.
Right.
Man. It was the best.
They put it in the water.
Yeah.
And they sound all
and the audio's all
Right.
hit each other in the head with it. And
That to me, that's as good as like the best Monty Python stuff. That
Pretty
was
much.
Really
Well, this
funny
is
scene.
so. This is very Monty Python to me. Like this feels like an American version of Monty Python, which of course means that it's not quite as good,
No.
but it does feel like an American Monty Python to me.
Yeah. It's the same sort of feel as their first movie, which was all their TV gags.
Right.
Or Flying Circus in general, because Flying Circus is a series of vignettes, sometimes which are connected to one another or call back to the previous one, but mostly don't.
The genius was having Terry Gilliam do the connections.
The cartoon interludes and stuff.
The cartoon interludes.
But the Fistful of Yen part.
Chris, why are you shaking your head? You think we're wrong? It's not anything like Python?
No,
News at 11.
Well,
Chris didn't like it.
The popcorn you've been eating has been pissed.
I was ready to love this. I hadn't seen it in a really, really long time.
Wow.
And I sort of sat stone faced through a great deal of it. I mean, there's stuff that's funny. There's stuff that hasn't aged well, but I think what was interesting to me was sort of watching both Landis and the Zuckers and sort of work out why Airplane is as good as it is because it doesn't even let you catch your breath.
Mm-hmm.
Except I have an opposite feel for it. As I remembered Airplane, it's like these guys are really good at taking a bad script and pulling out all the funny parts and making fun of them. And it didn't quite work out as they went on in life. Ruthless People is kind of funny.
I like Ruthless People, but Airplane, I mean, which I actually really want to watch again now. This movie has too many for an 80-minute movie.
There's too much air.
A lot of dead bits.
Yeah.
Which have not aged.
Time to get to the funny bit. You don't need the wind up.
Yeah, but they killed the theater, and that's a thing that was, that at the time it was timely. The things aren't timely anymore. You're kind of like washing over you. Well, I don't know.
I think some of the parts, especially like the looking back through the camera at the couple that's having sex.
Oh, dude, stop right there. That is funnier than I ever remember it being because it just.
I laughed at that.
Oh,
that is pretty. Even Sheila laughed at that.
I mean,
it
just got funnier and funnier.
The sex record too has some really good bits.
Sex record is pretty good because it could have been terrible.
It it has to breathe. If it doesn't, if you don't have that scene of him sitting on the bed and the music starts playing while she's putting,
No, that was perfect. I think
Also, and the finish was
Big
Jim Slade.
Big Jim Slade.
The trial
With, of course, an Israeli song behind him.
Hey, what's that song?
Again, twice as long as it needed. Like, there's a lot of things.
The trial's too long, and I thought the trial was too long the first time I ever saw this movie.
You know,
Like,
that was based on a TV show. I can't remember what it's called, but they used to show.
It was called Divorce Court.
Divorce Court. It's based on Divorce Court, and I remember it being black and white even back then.
There's a
Yeah, but
couple
the pacing's pretty leaden.
From the late 50s.
The pacing's pretty leaden in that one. It was like when they would cut to Beaver and Wally, it was always like this awkward silence, and then they'd say their lines, and then they would
follow me to the south end of the courtroom. Hey,
oh, that was funny.
It was leading the witness.
Leading the witness.
It was lame. I thought most of the jokes were stupid in that.
Actually, the best joke is picking the narrator out.
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny, but nonetheless, that I thought that the sex album thing was good, and the ending was just amazing.
And Wally and Beaver getting shushed by the lady behind them.
That was pretty good.
There's some stuff
Also,
really good.
Zinc Oxide and You is pretty fucking funny.
That's
one of those.
That's still funny.
That's
one joke that just builds and builds and builds.
Because we all sat through those horrible. Some of them weren't even films. Some of them were like, remember they had
film strips.
They were film strips.
Anytime this guy was on
screen, was that your job, John? When you were in the AV club?
Yes,
I was the AV nerd. Yes.
When he can't in The Simpsons, when he can't kill himself. And it's like, no, come back, Zinc, come back.
Yeah, come back. That's exactly right. But,
the moment when they go and our subsidiary in Milan is recapturing enough oil from discarded combs to save X number of million barrels
is bad enough. But no, they're getting combs from Italians.
But I'm telling you, the middle part, it's Fistful of the End part, the distillation of that film into this was really well done.
Yeah.
They found everything that was kind of wonky about the first film and just expanded it.
I liked it better.
I can see that.
And it
was still serious about martial arts.
About 10 times before I ever saw Enter the Dragon.
Klon was actually a martial arts.
Out of Enter the Dragon going, God, it's like a bad long version of Fistful
of Yen, right?
Yeah. No, Klon was the head of a kung fu school in Los Angeles. These guys.
No, the fighting's legit, which makes it even better.
That movie was.
Well, there's like at least 4 or 5 dojos mentioned.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Soon, who plays Klon is one of the best Hapkido masters ever. Mm-hmm. And Kim, who plays is
Kim's
also
is
also a Hapkido guy. So like they totally knew what the fuck they were doing.
It's obvious. They're really
it's obvious. Yeah. And even the people who are just like getting knocked over are doing a good job.
Yeah. There was a funny bit where they were going through one of the Klon's like secret underground headquarters and are walking by this cool looking prop of a person shaped light.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a prop from Sleeper. Remember that? That was a table that laid out and had the leader's nose on it.
Yes.
They just rented
I looked at it
about that.
Yeah. I looked at it and I was like, is that going to figure in something later, or where did they get that?
I remember
that was in the back room. They just
I remember talking
this
to
looks
John
good.
Landis at this convention, and he went on and on about Schlock. In Schlock, there's a scene where they recreate the bone crushing from 2001, and so they play the music for Thus Spake Zarathustra. Except what they did was he just went one like afternoon into the vault at MGM and got the original like 70 millimeter, and they just recorded it again. And then they used that, and they figured
no one caught him.
I mean, MGM owns it, right?
Yeah, right. So that makes sense.
There's no problem.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they'll have effects from 2001 that they'll little beeps and whines and computer sounds they create for the thing. You show up in films the next 20 years. Yeah, you can hear. Oh, that's a Hal effect. Oh, I know that sound. Kind of thing, right?
That's why Kubrick tried to get all the models destroyed.
That's right.
And
'cause he
succeeded
knew
for the
they were
most
gonna
part.
reuse them.
He didn't want them to show up in other movies, right?
When I binged really early on when Netflix was around and sending you DVDs. I binged the Rod
They will still send
Serling
you
thing.
DVDs. Ask John about that.
Yes.
Yeah, they still do. But the Rod Serling thing, Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone.
And one of the Twilight Zones, there's a spaceship that lands in this old lady's attic.
Mhm.
And she goes up and looks at it, and it's like, my fucking God, it's the spaceship from Forbidden Planet.
Oh no.
Oh.
And,
you
and,
can
the guys
see
are
that
wearing
it's just like 10 feet big.
Oh, what the fuck is the name of that episode?
No, Robbie
Yeah,
shows
shit.
up in lots of shit after the Forbidden Planet, and also
Oh,
they-
Robbie's everywhere.
shows up
those
everywhere.
uniforms
Yeah.
show up
They
a lot.
spent $150,000 of
Robbie's in like the Brady Bunch and
I
stuff.
know, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah. But anyway,
Robbie's also in Lost in Space.
Most of him.
he shows up as a villain or something like that, if I remember.
Oh no, they didn't use like the different head and used Robbie. It was different robot.
Uh-huh.
No, the robot meets another robot.
Yeah, robot was
Oh,
robot,
and it's
but
Robbie.
Robbie can't ride a walk on because he could walk dead legs.
He had a guest.
Right.
He had a guest shot.
shot.
The Invaders is the
Yeah.
name of that
The
episode.
Invaders,
That's
right.
one of the best. That's one of the best
Is
fucking.
that
Twilight
Agnes
Zone.
Moorhead? Is that the one with Agnes Moorhead?
Oh, that's the
Um,
pilot of
it
the
is.
Night Gallery, isn't it? No, that's Joan Crawford.
John Crawford.
Yeah. Anyway. Well, anyway,
Agnes is in one of the Twilight Zones.
this all means that we're done talking about Kentucky Fried Movie.
No,
No, we're not. at all.
Okay.
You're not, Scott.
Sorry. Just kind of keep things rolling.
Fistful of Yen, the fight scenes were better than they needed to be, which kind of for me sort of pulled me out
with
of
the transmission, that was the best. Come on. That's
You have to put the fucking spoiler.
I will.
Clip. You have
Also,
to put the spoiler clip in.
You know what? I actually wrote a treatise about there's a Venn diagram about lost drunken men who don't know where they are and don't care.
that was fucking
I
great.
actually wrote it up once because it's actually
I
really it's a
swear
good,
is dialogue from Enter the Dragon. What
No,
is
but it's
that?
actually-
I know. I'm so glad we watched Enter the Dragon right before this.
But the thing is, that's an excellent exercise in logic because you have lost drunken men and who don't care and don't know where they are, and it's like
And men who drink.
And you don't.
exactly. and
What
give
do
him a
you
drink.
drink? I don't care.
I don't
Fix him
know.
a drink.
Where am
What
I?
was
I was dying during
Yeah,
that
some
part.
of that stuff was really, really good, but then it would be like there'd be like 5 minutes of like actual like action and suspense, and you're like, go back to the funny stuff.
Right. Right. And
We
also,
thought
it kind of peters out at the end. It's unfortunately that Fistful of Yen doesn't have a great ending.
Well, it ends with Wizard of Oz. I don't know what you can do with that.
Yeah,
that
that's pretty
part was
lame.
like,
But that's like an
24
improv ending. You know, it's like
Yeah.
they say that bad improv always ends. in Wizard
I've literally been in that improv.
Oh yeah.
Like I've been in that improv where like
It was all a dream.
the director walks out onto set and then like says something and you're like, fuck, thank God. I'm so glad we're done now.
That's the mercy killing. It was like, and scene. Thank you.
See.
It did make me want to watch American Ninja again.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Look, I love
Made me wanna
multicolored.
watch
I
it.
love multicolored fucking karate or martial arts people fighting each other, and the American Ninja movies are full of multicolored martial arts people fighting each other. Like that whole movie is Pikmin, but it's fucking it's multicolored martial arts people. Like
Back in the late 70s, there was a trilogy of these blackout comedies. There's this, and there was Groove Tube, and there was Tunnel Vision.
Tunnel Vision.
And thing is,
Tunnel Vision was
I
the
remember
other thing.
back then remembering that those other two are just awful compared to this film. So they must be
I got through
completely.
half of Groove Tube after watching this, and it is lots of pretty bad.
Yeah, and so
Right.
I can't
Groove
imagine.
Tube has more dead spots in it.
Yeah.
this was
Some of the
all
stuff
this
is
was
pretty
all
good.
of the good ideas they had.
Yeah,
This was-
pretty much.
They just
Tunnel Vision has one bit that I will never stop laughing at, which is a commercial for a fast food chain that only sells you broccoli.
Okay.
That makes me laugh because there's like a whole
Didn't
jingle.
they have Brown 12 or something?
Round 12 was a great sketch. That was a good sketch.
Broccoli Center?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I
no.
assume you can watch that on YouTube.
Also, Chevy
though.
Chase did the Let Your Fingers Do the Walking sketch. That was pretty good because
Yeah.
you know this thing.
This is the most famous of those three movies. I guess Groove 2 gets some
But
notoriety.
this was the best.
Yeah.
This is the best finance.
It's the best one.
And also,
Television. What was the one with the television with like
The
a
legs?
gorilla body? Is that Groove Tube?
So
well-
Groove 2 is a television with the ape body.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
think
ape
that's-
body.
the other one was with the eyeball with the in the mouth.
Yes, television, eyeball on the TV.
Yeah, exactly. Also, the that's
saw all
Armageddon
those in the
sketch
theater.
near the end with all the stars like George Lazenby and Donald Sutherland.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty prescient, I thought.
Yes, that is called out in multiple places as being like, oh shit, we're still doing this.
Yes, they're still making this goddamn movie, even though there wasn't a serious version of anything. And
Roland
they're still
Emmerich's
making it.
entire career,
Is based on That's Armageddon. Yes, that's
Mhm.
pretty much. He's
Which
got
is
another one
just an
coming out.
Irwin Allen disaster.
Something about a planet.
well, Irwin Allen was
Moon
kind of like,
crashing into Earth or some bullshit.
oh yeah, I heard the moon's gonna hit us and it's gonna be like,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Jesus.
Roland Emmerich's latest.
Well,
let's
what was
just
the
throw it
first
together.
one?
that's funny.
Anyway, this movie I enjoyed it. I wish I didn't laugh as much as I expected to, but it's funny to watch. You know, it's good to watch these guys sort of work this stuff out because I think about what they did next. Zucker Brothers did Airplane and Landis.
Airplane, yeah.
Animal
I got
House.
very close to getting
And then Landis killed some people.
And then Landis did a few awesome movies and then killed some people, which
I was gonna double feature 0 Hour and Airplane before I did this one. But yeah,
I like how Rick
I can't-
Baker knocks Landis down.
I mean, I can't find 0 Hour anywhere available to
I never heard of 0 Hour.
Oh,
You
there's
watch
so-
0
Zero
Hour is
Hour-
basically an unfunny airplane.
It's Airplane that they stole the entire plot and down to a
entire
lot of
plot.
lines of dialogue. It's really stunning.
you could have also picked like Airport 75.
But no,
Airport
0 Hour is
75.
direct. It's actually a
Karen
direct
Black
steal
one.
because they own the rights to it. It was public domain. When
It's
they did
like
it.
it's like how they made that thing that wasn't Doctor Strangelove based on the original novel.
Yeah, that's right.
Fail safe.
Yeah, failsafe.
Mhm. All right.
Which is a good
Well,
movie.
no, because Failsafe was a novel, but also the one that Strangelove is based on.
Give it three
was a
quarters. Three
Okay,
quarters.
well, wait, the thumbs
Three quarters.
all the way up.
Three
Yeah.
I'm up.
Yeah,
I'm
give it
up.
3/4.
It
You know-
wasn't as funny as I remember it being. I appreciated watching it, but it wasn't what it was. And that's probably me.
I have something to say about this because I watched it about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
What?
And it was just, I mentioned it in our, what did
Yeah,
you
that's
see?
probably what sparked it.
And I remember I had more of a nostalgic kind of warm glow about it. And this time I was just dispassionate and going, oh, fuck, look at
That's I through at least a third of it. I was just sitting there going, ugh.
Yeah.
I was.
This is fun.
Started,
This
I
is
was
still
talking
funnier.
with Tad about.
You still think this is funnier than real life?
Yes, and this is funnier. This
Yes.
is funnier than most comedies that have come out in the last decade, by far.